We got to do it again, don't we? Every single day, there's something new. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talk Chicago sport, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. I mean, listen, where do we start here, right? Where do we start with the Chicago Bears today, right? Like that's how every day is at this point. We got to turn the page realistically, and there's a couple of things that I do want to get into regarding this team. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. Only channel talk Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure you get in tune with us, man. Shout out Mike Nice. Shout out Baki in the chat. Shout out Danny in the chat, man. Make sure y'all go ahead and do me a favor, man. And
come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push your button.
You heard what she said.
Y'all heard what Sue Young said. Push the button. Stop playing with us, man. I mean, listen, let's jump straight into this. You got to turn the page. You have to move on to next week, and that's going to be hard to do. There's a lot of adversity around this team. There's a lot of what's a good way to put controversy around this team, I believe is a good way to put it. There's a lot of question marks around this team when you look at the injuries on the offensive line already. And realistically, you're heading into a game that many Bears fans feel is over the Chicago Bears heads versus the Kansas City Chiefs. This is one of those games that we talk about all the time where all of a sudden the team that you're playing against, who has been struggling, gets right. But at least through 2 weeks of the season, this is not that same Chiefs team, to the point where I had to go look at the numbers. I had to go actually look at what the Chicago Bears and the Kansas City Chiefs have in common. And through 2 weeks of football heading into week 3, you would be surprised to know that you almost couldn't tell these teams apart just except for the players on the field, right? Through 2 games, both teams, one has put together 22 drives, one has put together 21. Total drives a game. One is put together 11. One is put together 10.5. First downs, both teams 36. Rushing first downs, both teams 13. Passing first downs, one is put together 21. One is put together 22. First down penalties, 2 and 1. Third down efficiency, one team's 35%, one team's 33%. I'm not telling you that I sit here right now today and believe that the Chicago Bears are going to go into Arrowhead and kick the crap out of the Kansas City Chiefs. What I'm saying is, based on how you look at how these teams are currently set up, you can't look at one and say, oh my God, I feel so much better about that offense, and look at the other and say, I feel so much worse. Now, at the end of the day, Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce versus this Bears defense that we've been seeing versus this Chicago Bears defense, oh yeah, they'll probably get right. You know what I mean? Like that's literally, this would be perfect for the Kansas City Chiefs to go out there and be able to finally start to look like the team that they're supposed to look like. But I'll tell you what, through 2 games, they look like a team coached by Matt Nagy, and I think the Chicago Bears have to take advantage on that. I think this is a game where you have to continue to dial up that pressure, similar to what you did in that game versus Tampa. Bears didn't blitz a ton, right? They only ticked up the blitz about 3% more. They blitzed 17% under Allen Williams. They end up blitzing 20% under Matt Eberflus on the day. Flus is still going to be playing or coaching that defense up, right? Like he's going to be the one that's going to be out there calling the plays. They're going to still be, I mean, they're running his system. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what's all going to go into that. But at the end of the day, I mean, listen, when you start to look at the differences in these teams offensively, I'm talking about all the way down the list. It feels like these are two of the exact same teams. And I mean, if we're being honest, the Kansas City Chiefs just feel like a team coached by Matt Nagy right now. The one thing that you want to see is, does all of this talk in the media actually do something for the Chicago Bears heading into this game? Does this band them together? We all saw the little cute hug that Luke Getsy and Justin Fields put together, right? We all saw that. Oh, it's so good. Oh my God. This is my guy. I love him. He's so great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, right? Like, look, it looks great for the cameras, but at the end of the day, nobody knows what's really going on in Halas Hall. As we get to some of the topics on today's episode, even the players don't know what's going on in Halas Hall today. But it's one of those things for me where now I'm looking at, okay, you see the numbers. You see this team struggling. Can Flus take advantage of that? You need to adopt that pissed off mentality. You need to adopt that we're going to come together, and though everybody thinks that we're on the bottom, we're going to be on top at the end of this game. You need to have that mentality because you're looking like a bottom right now. Take that for however you want to, right? Like that's how the Bears have been looking through 2 games. You have to build up that mentality inside. You have to build up a belief inside. And it's clear that this team doesn't believe because of everything that we've seen from the play callers, from the players, from the team as a whole, from the coaches. Like, that's realistically them telling us we don't believe in what's happening in this building right now. That's how it seems with the Chicago Bears. You have to take and stop letting words just be words. I'm sorry to the fans, and I'm sorry to the city of Chicago, and I'm sorry. Okay, you sorry, go do something about it. Are you gonna do something about it in week 3? Right? Now, I don't believe that Justin Fields called out his coaches. Oh, there goes my cell phone. That's crazy. My phone just shut. Oh, let's see. We're good. Okay. All right, cool. I got nervous on that one. I kicked the table. Phone went flying. But no, I mean, like, you have to look at this situation. You have to look at, kind of where the Bears are right now. With Justin Fields saying what he said about the coaches, I didn't take that as him saying that throwing his coaches under the bus. I know many people have. I feel like everybody's looking at the segment where he says, I think coaching plays a part in it, and nobody's listening to the part right after that where he goes, they're telling me what to do, and I'm trying to run it perfectly. Nobody's listening to that part. Nobody's paying attention to that part. It's just, well, you said coaching. What did he say about the coaching? What did he say about what he was doing with the coaching? You know what I mean? Like, I get what Justin Fields says, and everybody's sitting here trying to take this to, okay, he threw his coach under the bus. He did this. He made this play. But realistically, right, you have to listen to what these guys are saying. You have to listen to what these guys are talking about. And I don't think that Justin Fields threw his coaches under the bus. And now I'm looking at this game here as even more fuel to the fire, right? And I love, right, I don't know if you guys saw this today. Jaquan Brisker ended up liking that post where Stephen A. Smith basically says the Chicago Bears are a trash organization. And he goes out and he says I think Nick Moreno from CHGO asked him, why'd you end up liking the post? He said, because I want to make sure that everybody remembers when we're actually cooking, what they were saying about the organization then. I want to make sure that everybody remembers that. That doesn't matter unless you do something, though. You have to go out there and do something. You have to go out there and win football games. I have said this so many times, and we'll get into even more of what has come out about Alan Williams as of late, and some of maybe the options that the Chicago Bears have moving forward with this whole situation right now. But I mean, my God, guys, like, you know what cures all of this? And this is the part that nobody talks about, right? Whatever the Allen Williams situation is, however good, bad, and at this point, right, like there's so many scenarios that have been put out there. I don't know what the answer is. But no matter what you want to say about the Allen Williams situation, if the Chicago Bears go out there and win, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is, nobody's going to care. All the words in the media, all the back and forth, all of the speculation. You want to know what that comes from? 0-2 in 2 games where you looked like absolute jokes on the field. Like the video if you agree. That's what it comes to. That's what it ends up being. 0-2. If Justin Fields finds a way to win that game in the end and you go into this game 1-1, the conversation this week is very, very different. Now, does it mean that all of a sudden we think that the Bears are going to go into Arrowhead and win? I don't think that. I still have my concerns on that. I still feel like the Bears are heading into Arrowhead to take a butt whooping. But 0-2 is the reason that you feel this way. Is the reason that everybody's looking at you saying that you're a trash organization. You know what happens if you're winning in these situations? Wow, the Chicago Bears have been dealing with this behind the scenes and nobody's known what's going on and nothing is leaked out and they're 2-0. And you want to know what? This is what winning organizations do. This is how winning organizations put it together, right? Because you win games despite what's happening behind closed doors. That's the conversations that happen. That's the conversation that happens. But instead, you're sitting here 0-2, heading into a game that seems insurmountable. And all of this stuff breaks out. And now you're the worst organization to ever grace the cover of football. Or grace a football field, I guess I should say. Grace the cover of football. I don't know where I was going with that. You're heading into an uphill battle in this game. You're heading into an absolutely uphill battle in this game, but it's an uphill battle because of how we feel about you. Realistically, looking at what this team has done and looking at the numbers now, history aside, right? Listen, Super Bowl champs, world champs, all of that. I get it. But these guys are exactly the same teams right now. Few more yards for the Kansas City Chiefs. But when you're talking about completion percentages, Bears completing 61% of their passes, Chiefs completing 63%. Interceptions thrown, Justin's got 3, Pat Mahomes has 2. I mean, like, I go through this list and I tell you, you'd be hard pressed to find out. They've scored the same amount of touchdowns on the season. It's just crazy. It's crazy to see that from this Kansas City Chiefs team. Thank y'all for putting Matt Nagy in charge. Let's hope he gets one more week of that and keeps this thing going. I'm just saying. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. Like I said, we do this Monday through Friday. We're also getting the Chicago Bears breeze cracking up again. We'll be dropping all of our breaking news stuff over there, so tune in with us over there as well. We'll also be dropping clips from the show there and here. So just to support all of our Bears stuff will be over there. We also have the Chicago Bulls breeze getting cracking as well. So tune in with us on that. Appreciate you guys for showing so much support, so much love, man. Let's keep this thing moving right along because there's still a lot to get into. The Allen Williams situation has gotten a lot deeper. It seems like right after the Ian Rappaport tweet yesterday saying that Halas Hall was not rated, that Peanut Tillman was not involved. There was no crying from Matt Eberflus on one knee, just saying, "Oh my God, please, Jesus, help us." You know what I mean? But Pat McAfee on ESPN today confirms that that omission of Alan Williams' home is actually the part done on purpose because, according to his sources, Alan Williams' home was raided. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that ends up being. I don't know what that ends up meaning for him as a whole. But it adds more depth. And I think the interesting part of this, the only reason I'm even bringing this back up on this show is because of how the Chicago Bears are going about dealing with it. The Chicago Bears, Tyreek Stevenson, rookie, basically was asked, has anybody said anything about the Alan Williams situation, about, why he resigned, about why he was fired? Has anybody addressed you guys? And how the Bears have taken it, or how Tyreek Stevenson respond is basically saying, every time, we're just focused on the Kansas City game. And when we look back at it, there is a moment where you're like, I would like to address this, but also I got to make sure that I can cover Travis Kelce coming across the middle. The Bears are taking the hear no evil, see no evil approach. Do you like that approach with this situation? Or would you rather see your coaches kind of tell the players what's going on so that everybody's in the loop? And I kind of get it for us, right? The media side of things, where we're sitting here and we're like, we just want to know the answers to the story. Give us the answers. Why was his house raided? Why was it actually at Halas Hall? We don't know. I just need the answers. I get not telling us. Do you like the fact that they're not telling the players? That's where it starts to get questionable to me. Now, what I will say is this. I do like the fact that the Bears at this point right now are keeping the team focused on the game as it seems. But there's always going to be that question in the back of your mind of what the heck happened? What's going on here? What are we talking about? As long as it doesn't hinder you from going out there and playing the game, right? This is one of those situations where it's a lose-lose situation no matter what, right? Like realistically, if it goes out there and the Bears lose, somebody will come out and be like, well, maybe you should address the elephant in the room instead of hiding everything. If the Bears go out there and win, it's, well, you kept your nose to the grindstone and went out there and got the job done, right? Like he's in a lose-lose situation either way on this one. I will say this though, like to me, the fact that Flus is talking about keeping the team focused, Getsy is talking about keeping the team focused, Justin is talking about keeping the team focused, Ryan Poles is talking about how focused this team is, and we heard him speak today on all of the matters as well, right? Like, I would rather see that, I think, than sitting here where everybody's speculating on this and everybody's asking questions, right? Like, just get it out of the way. I love the focus. But to me, you've done so much more damage in so many different situations by keeping this all bottled up. Think about this. The Nate Davis situation, if you say Nate Davis is dealing with a family issue, this is why he's not here. We'll bring Nate into the fold when he gets here. Everybody in the world would have went, man, I hope somebody's not passing away. I hope somebody's not sick, blah, blah, blah. That'd have been the end of it. Nate Davis is dealing with a family issue. Y'all, if you're not family over everything, I don't rock with you anyway, right? If you're not family over anything, I'm not rocking with you. This is a game at the end of the day. But you could have got that completely out of the way. Killed all the speculation. 110% of it. Now Nate Davis is back, and Nate Davis is dealing with what? Personal issues. Did not practice today. Did not go out there and practice today. What are you doing back? Why are you back? Why are you here? Like, if you're dealing with the family stuff, deal with the family stuff. I'm with you. But if you're not coming to work, then what are you doing at work? Because I guarantee you we're going to hear about Nate Davis probably going out there and playing on Sunday. Why? Because now we're down 2 offensive linemen. Lucas Patrick was a full go today, by the way. I know he didn't end up playing. But it's one of those things to me where it's just like, if you just put this out in the open already, we're not sitting here having this conversation. We're not sitting here with speculation. We're not sitting here with confusion. That's where the Chicago Bears, I think, continue to put their foot in their own mouth. And again, you know when Bears fans would deal with this? If you were winning. If you were winning. You're 0-2 and you've looked lackluster in both games. I have to question 3 of your 4 principles. The hustle part of hits absolutely hasn't existed in 2 games this season. The intensity part of hits, I haven't seen an intense player on the field all year. We have 0 takeaways. And I've spent a good amount of time wondering if we have smart people at the helm. That's all the principles you got. That's it. You only got 4. That's hits. There's no more letters. So all 4 of your principles, all 4 of your principles are under question. And we can't even look at the team and say, well, it's because of everything that's been going on here, because the team didn't know what was happening. I can't even look at it and be like, well, of course this team went out there and struggled with this. Their coach was going through something and they didn't know how to deal with it and blah, blah, blah. They didn't know. They just found out. Tyreek Stevenson said he found out the same way we found out, which means he's sitting here having all the confused thoughts and trying to figure out why Peanut Tillman is Matt Eberflus crying on 2 knees in the office after reading this letter, and there's just tears all over it, like he's trying to figure this out. You're creating worse situations. You're creating situations that your team didn't have to be in. This is why I talked about, when do we start questioning the leadership on this team? The players are doing it. It ain't just us. I don't believe that Justin Fields threw his coach under the bus, but I do believe that Justin Fields was saying, hey, listen, they're trying to put me at a spot where I'm not at yet. And it's making me do this. And I've expressed this to them. We'll see if we see a change here. DJ Moore on the field. Did y'all see that clip today? DJ Moore sitting on the field. Tampa Bay defender comes up to him, says, I miss tackling you. They're not using you right. All you see is DJ Moore go, tell me about it. Don't take a right. Listen. I don't know how all offensive schemes go. I don't know how all offensive schemes work. I know a little bit, right? I'm not stupid out here, but I don't know how all the things go down and all of that at the end of the day. There's certain things that get done, certain things that don't, blah, right? But I do know this. Whether I'm playing Madden, whether I'm playing flag, whether I'm playing two-hand touch, whether I'm playing in the NFL, whether I'm playing high school, college, no matter what. If I got a number one receiver that's a legit number one receiver and has been a number one receiver on the team before he got here, that is supposed to be a team that was worse than our team, I'm going to give him the ball 15 times, minimum. And I don't care when mugs are sitting here and they're like, oh, well, you can't just force the ball to. Yes, I can. They forced the ball to Jay Jettis. Yes, I can. They forced the ball to Tyreek. Yes, I can. They forced the ball to Terry McLaurin. Yes, I can. They forced the ball. They forced the ball to every number one receiver in the NFL. Why is mine different? Top 20 receiver in the league. You have a top. So you know how many NFL wide receivers are in the NFL? You know how many wide receivers are in the NFL? You got one that everybody around the league says is top 20. And you can't push the ball down the field to him. Meanwhile, Daniel Jones let that mug fly for 312 yards. Come on, guys. Come on. And so with everything going on with this team right now, with everything going on inside of the building right now, you're in a situation now where you have to go out there and I don't expect you to win, but look like the team. Look like somebody that's done this before. Look like a football team. Look like a semblance of it. And to me, that starts with the leadership that I'm sitting around trying to figure out, why did it take you so long to let your team know what was going on? Why did it take you so long to figure out what was happening on the field? Why did it take you so long to figure out, hey, Justin Fields can't make this throw? Why did it take you so long to figure out, hey, Justin Fields isn't at this point yet? It took Justin Fields basically going out there and going, I'm taking in a lot of information at once. It's messing me up. I'm assuming these conversations were had behind closed doors before it got to this point. I'm assuming. Now, you know what they say about assumptions. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. We do this Monday through Friday. Tomorrow we'll have a full crew in the building down in the studio, man. I want to get on here and chop it up with y'all. I appreciate all you guys' support up in this mug, man. We've been rolling through with the Daily Show, man. Daily Show has been doing great. We've been doing great numbers. We're trying to find ourselves a bigger pool to swim in with the show. And we appreciate you guys for helping us to get to that point. The Bears make me drink. That's what it is at the end of the day. The Bears make me drink. Let's keep this thing moving right along, man. I have a question that I posed over on the Chicago Bears Breeze. I want to bring it to the channel here. With Matt Eberflus and all of his question marks that I would say are out there right now, do we want to put more on his plate? He's going to be calling the defense for the foreseeable future, I would assume, right? Unless they go out there and they add somebody to the team who can call plays. Now, they might just have a John Hoke be promoted there. They might have a, shut up, Steve-O. He said, don't blame the Bears. You're doing that anyway. Nobody asked you, dog. They might have, right, just promote somebody that's already in the building. But the question that I posed over on the Chicago Bears Breeze, make sure you guys go check that video out as well. But I want to get you guys' opinion on it. I want to chop it up here back and forth with you guys a little bit. Then maybe we get some Bulls talk here in at the end. With this team the way it is right now, do you want to put more on Matt Eberflus's plate as far as calling plays. Now, he's done this before, but he hasn't done this while being a head coach. The thing that goes into that is when you're trying to be a head coach, when you're trying to sit out here and you're making sure, okay, we got the right defense in, but maybe the clock is ticking down. Nobody's sitting here, hey, coach, you need a little help here on the defense, blah, blah, blah. You got to call a timeout here, coach. We're running out of time here. We're not lined up. We're not ready. Coach, we need help here, right? All those things that go into being a head coach, can you do it at the same time while still calling a defense that has to go out there and be a legitimate defense? And because of that, I posed the question, should the Chicago Bears go out there and look to see to hire Lovie Smith? Lovie Smith comes in. Yes, there would be noise about making Lovie the head coach. There just would. 110% there would. No matter what there's always going to be noise. But here's my question. Is the noise from Lovie Smith inside the building? If he's in that building. And we know what kind of leader he was. We know what kind of standards he set. I believe that there's standards that go in line with what the Chicago Bears want to do with this hits principle, right? And I think that he could basically surmise that up to this defense here, but it's already a defense that I think is fitting of what his skill set is. It's a defense that I think he would be able to inspire, go out there, legitimately put guys in the right position. Could there be a situation where the Chicago Bears go out there and hire Lovie Smith? I know that it's far-fetched. This is more of the meathead topic for the show, right? But I think that, to me, this would be one of the best hires that the Bears could make, because not only do you have a guy that's going to be able to call the defense, but you have a guy that's already been through these. You have a guy that's been through adversity. You have a guy, and if I'm not mistaken, right, Roy Williams, wasn't it Roy Williams that went through the whole, he had the packs delivered to the crib via UPS. He was moving that, you dig, from Dallas. Y'all remember that, right? Is there a situation, whoever it was, I think it was Roy Williams. He ended up basically already going through a situation where somebody on your team went through something serious. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen with Allen Williams or not. I'm not putting that out there. I'm not speculating that. But for me, I think that you have somebody who could be someone to come on and steady the ship. At least make your life easier on the defensive end. Would that be something that you guys would be hard pressed to see the Bears do? Quentin saying, I just find it hard to believe Lovie would want to come back, especially considered how his tenure ended here. Very true. But if I'm not mistaken, George is not the one who fired Lovie Smith. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was the other son, right? Michael, right? Michael's the other one. Sam Hurd, Jay Sanders. Shout out to you. It was Sam Hurd. I said Roy Williams. Sam Hurd. I believe that George is not the one who fired him. The Chicago Bears need a DC, need somebody to come in and run a defense that is already ready-made for this team. He knows the city. He already knows basically how everything in this stadium works. You know what I mean? And I mean that on the field and stuff like that. He knows how to take advantage of all of that stuff that the stadium brings. And I don't think that I think from the outside noise, we would say, hire Lovie. Why don't you just put Lovie in as a head coach? Why don't you make Lovie the next head coach? We would say that. But I think in the building, Lovie Smith would understand that, hey, listen, the head coaching, at least right now, is past me. We've seen former head coaches be DCs. Lovie Smith was one of them. We've seen him go into a situation where he was supposed to be helping a young head coach to take that next step. They just end up moving on from the head coach out of nowhere. Right? And so I would do it. I think that it would be something to steady a ship. I don't know if the Chicago Bears would make that decision. Age doesn't, Steve-O talking about the age. I see y'all going back and forth about age in the comments. Age doesn't mean nothing as a DC to me. Flus is 56. He's a first-time head coach. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Age means nothing to me when it comes to these guys, right? Like, if they didn't hire Lovie because of age, that would be the surprise. I just wonder if that's the next best situation for the Bears, or if this is simply the coaching staff that the Chicago Bears are going to ride out this season with. Flus is going to have to call the plays. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you get to the end of the season and you see a season like you saw last season, Lovie Smith might be on the docket anyway, because Matt Eberflus won't be here. If you don't see, and I mean significant improvement, this is a team that should win at a minimum 7 games. Not how they've been playing, but as the season goes on, should win 7 games. I would hope they can win more, but should win 7 games. 7 games is just below average in the league. If you can't do that, Flus won't be here. We'll be talking about your Eric Bieniemys. We'll be talking about your Lovie Smiths. We'll be talking about whoever you want to say. And so for me, I think that, listen, you need to get as much help in that building as possible to make your life easier. You have to. You just have to. Mike Nice, hilarious. He said, Pat, where you see 7, what teams do they beat? And listen, I understand that it's week 2 and this team has looked like absolute dog trash, and a lot of us are locked in on their team. But the league looks like dog trash. It just does. When we come to understand that the first 4 weeks of the season means nothing, we'll all feel a lot better. Because that's how teams feel. This season has told me so much. Did y'all watch that game on Monday night? Did y'all watch that game on Monday night? That game was horrible. That game was absolutely dog trash horrible. Football teams do not care about the beginning of the season anymore. Like, it's just, it's every time we get to the beginning of the season now, it's sad because of how much we care, because we're finally like, oh, this is real. But realistically, we have to look at those games as if they are, Steve-O said, which one? It was 2 games. Both of them. Which one of those games did y'all think looked good? The Panthers was awful. The Browns game was awful. Both of them. They were horrible games. It's horrible football in the beginning of the season. You hope to be 1-1 in this situation. It doesn't excuse what the Chicago Bears have done to this point, but teams do not care. And so at the end of the day, I don't believe that the Chicago Bears will finish the season the same way that they started the season. I do think that this team will get right. I do think that this team will get better. And I think that the Bears will be able to pull out some wins that maybe now people have as losses. That's just how the NFL season goes. Heck, Trevor Lawrence looked terrible for half a season last year. All of a sudden, right? It's all about what you do in the second half of the season that builds your narrative for the next season, right? Trevor Lawrence don't look good right now. But he built up that hype at the end of last season, getting in a playoff game, coming back in the second half, right? Everybody's so excited about the second half. Nobody remembers the first. Anybody remember the first half? Anybody remember the first half of that playoff game? How'd Trevor Lawrence look? How'd Trevor Lawrence look? 4 interceptions. It's all about how you finish. The first 8 games of this season are to get us in a position for the playoffs. The last 9 are to tell us the answers we need to know. Right? You go 4-4 in the first 8 games of your season, you're in a position to make a playoff run. Your last 9 is where you get your answers. Like, there's so many teams that look bad early in the season. Teams just don't care. That's the part that sucks. That's the part that hurts as the fan, right? Like that, teams just don't care. Like, we love this game. We love to see this team go out there and compete and fight and all of that early on in the season. But realistically, the second they added a 17th game, the team said, okay, we're not doing this in the beginning of the season because we know an 18th game is coming. They're just getting themselves ready for it. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I don't. For us to have a month of misery means that they might actually be able to go out there and have a end of season where your team is mostly healthy. The league is changing. We got to change our mindset on it. That's why when I sit here and I say, hey, listen, I understand what this team is right now. I don't think they'll be this by the end of the season. Now, listen, if they are, everyone's gone. We're looking at a new QB in the draft. We're looking at new pieces. We're looking at a new coach. We're looking at a rebuild. Well, we're looking at a new regime in there, right? Because you still got DJ, you still all of that. You still got the pieces that you added this season that you wanted long term. When is 18 games coming? I would think by the next CBA we'll have 18 games. And there'll be a little strike for a little while. But I would think by the next CBA we'll have 18 games. The NFL realizes how much money they make off of these things, guys. They know how much money they're bringing in. They're not going to give you less games. They're not. Rajan says Bears changed for the worse, though. There's no proof that this coaching staff knows what they're doing. Justin Fields ain't going nowhere, anywhere this year or next year. Listen, I didn't say that the Bears don't look worse this season than they did last season. But guess what? The Chiefs won a Super Bowl. So did they. I gave the numbers early on in the show. They look just like the Bears offense. We just see the score at the end of the game and we go, oh, snap. They scored 26 last week. They looked horrible in that game. They're performing just like the Bears. All of these teams are terrible early in the season. You had 18 games. Half of the league is going to turn into Kawhi. 110%. 110%. 110%. You're going to see guys not play for small things. Me and Lance Briggs talked about this on the Chicago Bears podcast. You're going to see guys go out there and have an ankle injury, and the coach is going to say, you're not playing. You're going to see more of a devaluation of what the system is right now. That's what you're going to see. 100%. Mark my words. The NFL regular season in 5 years will be viewed just like the NBA's. And the NFL will be down the road trying to make their regular season valuable again. Why? Because fans are going to say, the first few games don't matter. Why am I spending my money? The first few games don't matter. let's keep this thing moving along, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. Appreciate you guys for showing love. I want to finish it off with this, man. We've been talking a lot of Bears. Let's finish it off with some Bulls talk, because apparently Damian Lillard, the Chicago Bulls are actually trying to go out there and get Damian Lillard. The Chicago Bulls are actually trying to go out there and add Dame to their team. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true. I don't know. It would be interesting though, right? Here, the scenario that's been put out there is that the Chicago Bulls basically would do a 3-team trade that would trade away Zach LaVine. You would bring in Dame Lillard. The third team would end up moving somewhere else, right? And you would have Dame Lillard, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic. What I will say is this. No matter who else is on the team, the only part that gets me excited about Damian Lillard possibly coming to the Chicago Bulls. That'd be wild. He comes to the Bears. To the Chicago Bulls is the Damian Lillard, Nikola Vucevic pick and roll that would happen, because Dame hasn't been paired with a legit big man in years. I would be so excited. by the pick and roll that would come from the Chicago Bulls with Damian Lillard and Nikola Vucevic. Outside of that, everything else is ancillary, right? What would it cost you? Zach LaVine, a bunch of picks. Damian Lillard, Kobe White, Patrick Williams, and some picks, right? Like, what realistically is it going to cost you? I don't know. I don't really believe that the Chicago Bulls are in on Damian Lillard. I think that they're making calls and they're talking about it, but I don't think that there's a realistic deal that's going to be in place. Me and Hayes talked about this over on Locked On Bulls, right? Realistically, the Knicks have the best opportunity to go out there and put a package together. Why? Because they have the draft capital. I don't think that Portland really wants to reset this thing with young players, young picks, without young players or young picks. I think that Portland wants to go out there and basically just have the draft capital. I think that they want to continue to build their team with the young players they have already and keep this thing moving. Chi-Town Javier says Dame and DeMar, the clutch factor on that team would be insane. I would like it. I would enjoy it. It'd be fun. How far is that team getting? Maybe you sneak into an ECF. I mean, the Bulls match up well. I don't know. Raging saying no one wants to trade an alpha for one of the 3 betas the Bulls have. LOL. That's theft. If the Dame thing ever happens, the commissioner would reverse it. Bulls don't even have a good number of their picks. Well, I don't know what you mean by that, except for next year, possibly the Bulls have all of their picks moving forward for the next 5 years, so they could put all their picks out there. I think the other thing that brings the Bulls into this conversation is that who cares about what the Miami Heat are offering? The Miami Heat are offering pick swaps, 2 picks, a duck, a free pass to the Disneyland down there, and Jaime Jaquez. Actually, they didn't offer Jaime Jaquez. They offered Jovic. They refused to offer Jaquez. Right? Like, so for me, that's a situation where the Bulls right now the Bulls can put together a better package than what Miami can. But guess what? Half the league can. I know I keep seeing the whole, well, why would Dame go to Chicago? He wants to go to Miami. This is that. Listen, I get it. But Portland's not going to take an L here. So realistically, Dame is going to either be in Portland or you can be in Chicago or New York. I told y'all early on that the Dame Lillard thing was going to not happen the way that mugs are on. It's not going to go down. You're not just going to fleece the Portland Trailblazers because it's Pat Riley. Everybody was like, no, what are you talking about, Pat? How can you say that the Dame trade isn't going to happen? He doesn't want to go anywhere else. It doesn't matter where he want to go. It matters where they trade you to. I wouldn't be mad if the Bulls did it. I don't think that it's a realistic option for the Bulls right now, but it was an interesting thing to bring up. And I look at the whole situation as the one thing that Dame would bring. Now, listen, Dame absolutely a superstar, or take it back. He can be a superstar level player. if he goes out there and wins enough in the playoffs and gets to a finals and all of that, right? He's that level of talent, though. But I just like the one thing that he brings to the Bulls that I would actually want is leadership. The one thing that I would want the Bulls to actually get from him is the leadership. But I would want that with a Zach LaVine in the building to be a number 2. Maybe that's just me. I'm not keen on just sitting here and moving on from Zach LaVine just yet, because I know everybody in Chicago is kind of sick of him, but everybody around the league wants him. So to me, I would try to move him around. I would try to move other pieces except for him, I should say. But I don't think it's realistic anyway. But every time me and Hayes say this, right, we keep going, I don't believe that it's realistic. Something new comes out. Something new about this team, just like, oh, the Bulls are in on this. Wait a minute, hold on now. Somebody said, who said that? Said he was 33. Dame, he's 34 and getting up there as well. Dame will be fine till he's about 36, 37 years old. Listen, what is this age limit that we're putting on guys? We see guys that are stars continually play past this age. Is Kevin Durant not good anymore? Now, what I will say about Dame that's different from KD, I guess, is the injuries are crazy. Do you want to? I think for everybody, do you want to risk going out and getting somebody who may not be there when the playoffs get here? And Damian Lillard has had that a lot in his career. Now, granted, last season they shut him down. But Dame has missed a lot of time in his career. Is that the guy that you want to bring to the team? And knowing the Bulls' fortune with point guards, right? We'd be in an Aaron Rodgers situation, play one. So maybe we avoid it for that reason. I don't know, man. But hey, I do appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. The whole squad will be back tomorrow in the stew. You already know how we do. Appreciate you guys for showing support. Tune in with us Monday through Friday, man. Monday through Friday, we're doing this every single day. And ain't missed one yet. Shout out to y'all. Stay safe out there, Chicago.